This post was uploaded to /weird. It is titled My Next Door Neighbor.
In it, we can see what appears to be someone eerily staring into their yard at them. The OP then goes on to say, my neighbor does this on a daily basis. One Reddit user suggested that the OP should put a mirror facing her way there. Another commented, we actually had the same issue at our last home 20 years ago. Husband and wife would stand by the fence and stare into our home. I put up a mirror hoping it would make them stop. It didn't, but we moved to a lovely place without creepy neighbors. I recently checked property records and they're still living there. So glad we moved. To which another commented, I checked on my former creepy neighbors recently too.
Those types never move. While others suggested that the OP's neighbor could be blind, have vision or some sort of other health problems such as dementia, which just may be the most likely case. If not, then the OP does have quite a strange neighbor. The following post was uploaded to /Lubbock, titled Weird Note on My Car.
It is captioned as follows. Found this note on my car this morning on the north side. I didn't scan the QR code cause viruses and whatnot.
It's just weird.
The note is quite unsettling. Reading, my life is in danger. However, unfortunately, we are unable to see the QR code because the OP blocks it out with his hand. But perhaps it is for the better. One user commented, for sure don't scan. Also, if you get a random gift and a QR code too, find out who it's from. Don't scan that either. That's a new one I've heard recently. The OP then replied, that's exactly why I know not to scan things. I saw a post about the gifts with the QR code.
I never would have known it would be bad otherwise.
Another user commented, saw these posted at the news station a few weeks ago. I wouldn't trust it. Some users commented that you can't simply get a virus from scanning a QR code, and that even if someone could make a virus like that, they wouldn't waste it on random cars in Lubbock. However, I would not recommend scanning random shady QR codes, as they may trigger drive-by downloads which could install malware onto your device without consent, reveal sensitive information, compromise your device's security and more. They can trick you into doing these things, send you to phishing sites that mimic legitimate websites, or be designed to interact with specific apps potentially triggering unintended actions or vulnerabilities.
Whether or not this note the OP found on their car is legitimate or just a prank, it's still a very strange thing to hand to a stranger, regardless. If the person who handed this note to them was legitimately in some sort of danger, we can only hope they got the help they needed. The following post was uploaded to /paranormal. It is titled, Cemetery is contacting me about a voodoo doll that they found with my personal info.
They posted this email here with names and locations censored that reads as follows. Dear OP, I hope this message finds you well.
I am writing to inform you that our groundskeeper recently found an item at our cemetery that appears to be a voodoo doll, and it contains personal details such as your full name, your date of birth, your phone number, and your email address. We understand this may be unsettling,
and we want to ensure that you are aware of this discovery. We want to assure you that this type of discovery is not uncommon, as some individuals occasionally misuse the grounds for spiritual or occult practices.
We take such matters seriously and want to ensure that you are informed. If you would like to retrieve the item, we would be happy to arrange a convenient time for you to come and collect it.
Alternatively, if you prefer, we can respectfully destroy the item for you. Please let us know how you'd like to proceed, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions or concerns.
Thank you for your attention to this matter.
We look forward to hearing from you soon. Warm regards, Funeral Home Manager. The OP then goes on to say, I just called them back, and unfortunately, they're closed by now. So I guess I'll have to wait to find out what this is all about.
But oh my gosh,
has anyone ever seen anything like this? One user commented, first look up the cemetery's official or legal information and use that contact information to confirm the veracity of the message.
I'd be more worried about people dropping my personal details around like that than anything.
This is odd enough you want to follow up because someone is messing with you, and you need to identify the field and players if possible.
If you want to go all out, when you get the door, dismantle it, then burn it with salt.
To which the OP then replied, thanks so much for bringing that up. I should have mentioned in the original post that this is a real person that I can find on the staff page for the cemetery.
The phone number in the signature is the same phone number on the cemetery's website.
The user then replied, better and worse at the same time, lol.
In that case, it might be worth calling the non-emergency line and getting advice from the local police.
Just get a record of something on file, because someone with your information is leaving to the wind and you want to be prepared.
For actual dolls, I believe there needs to be something personal to the subject like flesh or fluids or extreme sentiment if you're worried about paranormal implications, so it might not be a full doll from that perspective. I'd still sort and burn cause I never do things when I can overdo them.
I still wouldn't want one of me wandering about with my personal info though.
Another user commented, if you could find the name and phone number, so could someone else. I am not saying there's a grand conspiracy, but definitely make sure this is real via phone call before emailing back.
One user replied, "You're right.
A scam maybe," to which another replied, yeah, to get someone to verify their info. And if I was going to pretend to be someone, I'd first check their company website and pick someone off it that can be verified. Then it'd be more believable.
One user jokingly commented that the OP should retrieve the doll and put a pair of Barbie sunglasses and send it to their unstable ex-boyfriend.
Another user commented, is there any concern that your ex might do something to threaten or harm you that isn't voodoo? Please be safe.
To which the OP replied, "Thank you for asking.
I think I am all right for now." This item was found in a cemetery in the city that he lives in.
I don't think he is aware that I've moved. I would have to drive an hour to get it, so the doll is definitely closer to him than to me.
I don't live there anymore. I am also hoping to understand when it was placed. If he bought it in the cemetery a year ago when we broke up and they are just now finding it, that would be different than if he did this today. So I definitely want to know when they think it was placed. For some context, it appears the OP is having some problems with some sort of crazed ex, which the OP does not make any reference to on this post about the voodoo doll.
I will get to that after this comment posted here.
It appears some commenters believe that the OP's ex may have been the one who placed the doll there. One user replied to the OP, does it really matter when? That MF was trying to unalive you, girl. The Barbie idea is cutesy, but this is very serious.
Attempting to do graveyard roots is a very specific type, and the consequences shouldn't be measured by time.
Who cares when he did it? The severity is the same. I am not telling you to be afraid, but I am telling you that this is not a game.
This is just like a physical attempt on your life. Anyone who'd do graveyard would do it for real.
Would it matter when he did it then? Think of it like that. It's cool to find out when they think it was, but don't let that change how you proceed with things moving forward.
I second the person who said something about filing a police report. Believe it or not, there used to be a section of the law dedicated to spiritual crimes like this against humanity.
It may still even be enforced, just not widely known. By the way, that cemetery director is a real one because not everyone would take it upon themselves to even get involved in something like this. It spooks people for a good reason. After doing some further digging, it appears that the same OP who posted the voodoo doll post on r/paranormal also posted this post here on r/RBI. The post is titled as follows. Ex-boyfriend presumably is sending me anonymous emails in which he pretends to be a variety of characters. Can I prove that it is him?
The OP then goes on to say the following. Currently looking for any advice anyone might have on this situation. I believe that my ex-boyfriend has been sending me anonymous emails for almost a year.
In these emails, he pretends to be different characters, which seem to always be either authority figures or fake family members or romantic partners. The frequency of these emails is increasing. I've received more in January than in the rest of the year combined. The theme of the emails is either 1, I miss you, and you abandoned me, or 2, you need to apologize to me right now. I have gone to the police about this. They laughed at me. It became clear that they aren't going to put any effort into investigating this. They think that it's spam and that I should just block or delete these. While I have been blocking and deleting them, it doesn't stop him from creating new addresses with crazier and crazier stories.
It's definitely not spam, because the sender knows personally identifying
information about me.
Also note that Pedro had my phone number and my email address, and I feel like spam usually comes to one or the other.
Not both. I believe he might be using the "this person does not exist" website to come up with faces for the personality. See Pedro's profile picture and the face in the last photo. I was particularly disappointed to see that my ex took on the personality of my miscarriage come back from the dead. See email 4.
I suspect that, at the core of this issue, he really just wants me to respond, and he doesn't care what kind of low he has to go to in order to get me to reply in some manner. I'm trying to not pay too much attention to these, but I've received so many over the past few weeks.
Is this a common thing? Does anyone else have experience with this? I've investigated whether I can find out where the emails are coming from if the police won't. For the most part, the IP address just points back to Google servers. These are mostly Gmail accounts, with the occasional Outlook account or Tutormail.
I have always Googled the person that these emails are allegedly from. These aren't real people. Reverse image search for profile pictures never turns anything up.
Here is a subset of what I have received from him in the past few weeks.
It's mostly nonsense, with the occasional identifying detail that distinguishes it from spam.
His last email to me included some original artwork. The OP appears to have deleted the photos linked to what may have been screenshots of the emails, perhaps for privacy reasons. But from what they explained in this post here, we can get an idea of the sort of absurd emails the OP was receiving. The following post was uploaded to /apartment living titled, "Okay, hear me out.
There is someone in my walls." They then go on to say, "Okay, I know I probably sound absolutely insane, but earlier today, when I was putting groceries away in my pantry, my cat climbed into the bottom part like she typically does. She goes anywhere I do not want her to, and she ended up just disappearing. I know she's a fast cat, but this wasn't her just running away.
I moved the stuff on the bottom shelf of the pantry where she disappeared, and turns out the bottom panel of my pantry is loose."
It doesn't just into the wall like a normal pantry. It leads to a whole full-sized hallway. I only have one not so great photo where you can see my cat's legs.
I managed to get her out, but when I pushed on the panel more, it revealed a bunch of random items. Have posted in this group before about my weird neighbor, but this is way more terrifying. I will attach the image along with this. I emailed the main office about this, but I have no idea what to do.
It is my first apartment, and I am a female living alone. My boyfriend has come over most nights though.
I have heard noises from my closet, just thinking it is my cat because there's no openings to this mysterious hallway.
If this was not my first apartment, I would break my lease, but I am here until November. Where do I even begin with this can of worms that I have opened? Here are the photos the OP uploaded of their pantry, where we can see there is a large gap leading to some sort of area with random items scattered around in it. Some users suggested that perhaps this is just an old crawl space of some sort, and that perhaps people just left a lot of junk behind in it many years ago. One user suggested that perhaps the items belonged to previous owners who just used that area behind the pantry as a garbage chute.
However, some users like this one suggested that this could actually be a scary situation, and that the OP should report the situation to a non-emergency number to have the area investigated.
The OP then responded to all the comments, stating that she sent an email about the area to the front office of her apartment,
and refused to attempt putting a GoPro on her cat to investigate the area as some users suggested.
She also stated that previous tenants staying in her apartment left all their belongings behind and left in a rush.
And she has had a few instances where people will come knocking on her door, asking to purchase illegal substances,
and said this would explain why people may have left the apartments in a hurry.
In regards to the strange neighbor she was referencing, this is what she had to say about her in another post she made on /advice.
A little backstory: I-19F have been living alone in an apartment since November.
It is not an apartment building, but complex is open air, kind of like a motel compared to a hotel with 4 units for each complex. When going to my complex, I have to walk up the stairs, and at the top of them is my neighbor's door.
Then I turn and walk down a hall a bit to reach mine, so avoiding her 75F door is impossible.
I was warned on my first day moving in from the maintenance guy to avoid her, and I quote, "She scares me."
I had an interaction also on my move-in day, and could immediately tell that something was off with her.
She immediately started making racist comments about those people, referring to African Americans that live in other units, and was talking about different topics which she was filled with paranoia about. My mother, who has been a nurse for over 30 years, immediately picked up on her body language, which seemed to indicate signs of mental illness.
She is also a hoarder and always piles up trash or food and other random items outside of her door, and blocks the doorway, which does not bother me much. The only thing that bothers me is when she puts out moldy food and the smell of overripe onions that never seems to go away, but
I'll ignore it. So far, he sounds just a little off. But here is where it starts getting weird. Whenever I get home or leave, she has recognized the sound of my car. It is pretty obnoxious, and will open her door a little bit and corner peek me when I am locking or unlocking my door, and will just watch me. Not say anything, just watch.
When I notice her, she will close her door quickly.
This has led me now to always look over my shoulder and hurry inside. There have been a couple other weird incidents with her that are not worth mentioning.
But I have suggested to the front office leasing office to maybe do a wellness check on her due to the fact that she is elderly and one day left her door open when she was not there, and the walls were covered in mold. And there was a strong smell of human waste, and I was able to see human waste as well just from that quick glance as I was leaving.
Honestly, it is just a biohazard at this rate and concerning living next to and sharing a wall with something so concerning. But, in typical apartment management fashion, nothing was done. The whole reason I have made this post is because last night I was awoken at 1:27 am.
I thought my cat might have turned on my television in the living room, because all I could hear is muffled noise that I was unable to make out the words to but still loud. My cat was next to me, and also woke up, quite upset about her slumber being upset. She's a diva.
I stood up and realized the noise was coming from right outside of my front door.
My neighbor was playing religious sermons, full blast, from her phone outside of my door as if she was the second coming of Jesus.
It went on for about 20 minutes, but I had no idea what to do. I have not done anything to upset her, and I have barely any interaction besides the simple, hello.
Eventually, she stomped back inside and I was able to go back to sleep, unsettled at the least.
In the early morning, when I was leaving, she opened her door and it scared me.
But she seemed even more terrified of me and I was being jump scared by her. I told my mum about everything that occurred and she says I should report it to the police about her having escalating symptoms and perhaps a mental crisis.
But I have no idea what to do about this. I avoid leaving and coming as often as I can, so I do not have to interact with her. Has anyone ever had an issue like this? What do I do? On this post, a user commented, "The front office people seem useless.
Have you discussed all this with the landlord and/or property owner?
I'm sure they wouldn't be thrilled with this information. They may also have some information that could help you. If the landlord can't help, then do what your MOM said. Call the non-emergency line and say you would like to remain anonymous. Focus on the 1 am noise complaint in front of your door and the worry for your safety.
Hopefully they send someone for a check.
They can't really do much to fix the problem, unless they find crime. However, the squad car showing up might wake up the office staff and/or the property owner. Moving might be the least available option, but it may end up being the only solution." That's all for this video, everyone. Hope you all enjoyed. If this video does well with views, I may make more similar content like it in the future.
Please leave a like and subscribe. And as always, a link to donate to help support the channel is in the description. Until next time, the Alley Ghost.